In the grand ancient Persian Empire, under the rule of King Xerxes, an extraordinary tale unfolded, a tale of bravery, faith, and an incredible twist of destiny. At the heart of this story was a Jewish woman, Esther, who would rise from obscurity to save her people from impending doom. Our narrative begins in the mighty citadel of Susa. King Xerxes, a ruler known for his opulent lifestyle and displays of wealth, held a magnificent banquet that lasted 180 days, followed by a 7-day feast open to the people. On the final day of revelry, buoyed by wine, the king ordered Queen Vashti to appear before him and his guests to flaunt her beauty. But Vashti refused, igniting Xerxes' rage. The king's advisors, fearing that Vashti's defiance would set a dangerous precedent for women across the empire, counseled him to remove her from her royal position. So, Vashti was stripped of her crown, and a royal decree was issued to search the vast empire for a new queen. Young maidens from every province were gathered and brought into the king's harem, under the watchful eye of Haggai, the chief eunuch. Among them was Esther, also known as Hadassah, a beautiful and kind-hearted Jewish girl. An orphan, she had been raised by her cousin Mordecai, who was like a father to her. Mordecai, wise and protective, instructed Esther not to reveal her Jewish heritage, a command she heeded with caution and respect. Esther's grace and beauty won the favor of everyone she met, and after a year of preparation, she was presented to King Xerxes. Struck by her elegance and charm, the king was smitten. He placed the royal crown on her head, declaring Esther the new queen of Persia, though she kept her identity a secret, as Mordecai had advised. While Esther lived within the palace walls, Mordecai remained a fixture at the king's gate, ever vigilant. One day, he uncovered a conspiracy to assassinate King Xerxes, hatched by 2 royal guards, Bigthana and Teresh. Mordecai informed Esther, who reported the plot to the king, crediting Mordecai for his loyalty. The plotters were executed, and the event was recorded in the royal chronicles, though Mordecai received no immediate reward. Meanwhile, a sinister figure rose to power. Haman the Agagite, a descendant of the ancient enemies of Israel, was promoted to the highest position of authority, second only to King Xerxes. Arrogant and filled with malice, Haman demanded that all royal officials bow to him. But Mordecai, a man of unwavering faith, refused to bow to any human authority, igniting Haman's fury. Learning that Mordecai was Jewish, Haman devised a plot not only to destroy him, but to annihilate all Jews in the kingdom. Casting lots, called Pur, he determined the day of their destruction, the 13th of the month of Adar. Haman presented his plan to King Xerxes, manipulating the truth and claiming that the Jewish people were a threat to the stability of the kingdom. In exchange for the king's permission to carry out his wicked scheme, Haman offered a vast sum of silver to the royal treasury. Unsuspecting and trusting, King Xerxes handed Haman his signet ring, granting him the power to issue the decree. The edict was sent across the empire, commanding the extermination of all Jews on a single day, and panic gripped the Jewish community. Mordecai, upon hearing the decree, was devastated. He tore his clothes, put on sackcloth and ashes, and mourned bitterly in the city. News of Mordecai's distress reached Esther, and she sent a messenger, Hathach, to learn what had happened. Mordecai explained the dire situation and urged Esther to plead with the king on behalf of her people. But Esther hesitated. Approaching the king unsummoned was punishable by death unless he extended his golden scepter. Mordecai's response to Esther was profound and resolute. Do not think that you will escape in the king's house any more than all the other Jews. If you remain silent, relief and deliverance will arise for the Jews from another place, but you and your father's family will perish. And who knows but that you have come to your royal position for such a time as this? Moved by Mordecai's words, Esther resolved to act, despite the risk. She instructed Mordecai to gather all the Jews in Susa to fast and pray for 3 days, while she and her attendants did the same. When this is done, I will go to the king, even though it is against the law. "And if I perish, I perish," she declared with courage. After 3 days, Esther donned her royal robes and approached the king in the inner court. Xerxes, seeing his beautiful queen, was pleased and extended his golden scepter. Esther's life was spared. "What is your request?" the king asked. "Even up to half the kingdom, it will be given to you." Esther, with wisdom and patience, invited the king and Haman to a banquet she had prepared. During the feast, the king repeated his question, but Esther only invited them to another banquet the following day, promising to reveal her petition then. Haman, elated by the honor but still seething over Mordecai's defiance, built a massive gallows, intending to hang Mordecai the next day. That night, however, the king could not sleep. He ordered the royal chronicles to be read to him, and was reminded of Mordecai's act of loyalty in exposing the assassination plot. Xerxes, realizing that Mordecai had not been rewarded, sought to rectify this oversight. At that moment, Haman arrived to request Mordecai's execution, but was interrupted by the king, who asked him how a man the king wished to honor should be treated. Believing the king meant him, Haman suggested a grand procession, with the honoree robed in royal garments and led on the king's horse through the city. To Haman's horror, Xerxes commanded him to honor Mordecai in precisely this manner. Haman obeyed, humiliated and crestfallen. Later, at Esther's second banquet, the king again asked Esther for her request. With courage and grace, Esther revealed her identity and pleaded for her people, exposing Haman as the mastermind behind the plot. "An adversary and an enemy, this vile Haman," she declared. Enraged, King Xerxes left the room. Haman, realizing his fate, fell at Esther's feet to beg for his life. The king returned to find Haman in a compromising position near the queen, and ordered his immediate execution on the very gallows Haman had prepared for Mordecai. That day, King Xerxes awarded Haman's estate to Esther and elevated Mordecai, giving him Haman's former position and authority. Yet the decree to annihilate the Jews remained. Esther, weeping and imploring the king, secured his permission for the Jews to defend themselves. Mordecai issued a new decree, and on the appointed day, the Jews overcame their enemies, bringing great relief and joy. The victory led to the establishment of the festival of Purim, a celebration of deliverance and God's providence. Mordecai rose to prominence, second only to King Xerxes, and worked tirelessly for the welfare of his people. The story of Esther stands as a timeless testament to faith, courage, and the belief that perhaps we are placed where we are for a purpose, for such a time as this. Through her bravery, an entire nation was saved, and the legacy of hope she left behind continues to inspire. If this story resonated with you, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to our channel, and share your thoughts in the comments below. Write "God bless you" to spread a wave of blessings. ****. And if you're looking for beautiful religious items like necklaces, rings, or inspirational art to keep God close to you daily, check out our store in the description. Your support helps us continue sharing these biblical stories with the world.